every kilowatt hour harder than ever before. Till today, there are 166 ways electricity can go to work for you.
We can't do that because this water is toxic.
On May 15, 2015, Duke Energy pleaded guilty 18 times to 9 coal ash crimes. 17 days later, 17 days after that plea, they're now on criminal probation. Criminal probation. The executives of the convicted entities met at a private dinner in the governor's mansion with North Carolina's chief environmental law enforcement official who had pending at that time civil charges of many kinds against the Duke Energy entities. And I would ask the commissioners, can you imagine if Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General of the United States, had a private dinner at the White House with executives of some corporate entity that had charges pending against it from the Justice Department, what the Congress would do? But that is what we had in this state. It's amazing.
My name is Deborah B. Graham, and I live in Dukeville community, and it's home to the Buck Steam Station. We were here on April 18th working out in the yard, and I'd been drinking a little bit of coffee, and the mail lady came up and pulled in the yard, said she had something for us to sign. So the husband signed it. I came on in the house and sat back here at the bar, was drinking coffee. He opened up this letter that he had to sign for, a certified letter, and as he was reading it, he said, "The water is contaminated." And I was drinking coffee, and I remember going, "What did you say?" And he said, "The state says our well is contaminated."
My name is Will Scott. I'm the Yadkin River keeper, and we've been working at the Buck Steam Station for almost 2 years now with the families and also doing sampling on the river by the site. So the Buck plant is named for James Buck Buchanan Duke. It was built in 1926, burned coal for 407 years, so till 2013. Until the 1950s, till 1957, that ash was disposed of in the community, in the river. We don't have good records. Duke hasn't provided them of what happened to that ash. Since 57, there's been a series of 3 ash ponds built, and there's now a total of over 5 million tons of ash at Buck in over 170 acres of coal ash pits.
These are not ponds. These are pits. They're dark, gloomy, nasty looking, like mud, but only in a brown grayish color. You wouldn't want to go down there and swim in it. You wouldn't want to fish in it. And it is stored in unlined, leaking pits.
I'm Ted Miller. My family has been in this community for over 200 years. When the Duke power came in, it became one of our neighbors also. And that as you can see around here, it's all farmland, even to today. And so when the plant came in, I can remember as a kid, my grandpa Bruce telling me that he had to be careful about his car because all the cinders coming out of the plant over there was eating the paint off of his car.
Okay, my name is Marcel Graham, and I've lived here in this house for 29 years this coming weekend. But I have lived in this community basically all my life. Coming up being a teenager, we'd come back here in the woods. Now, back at that time, there were no fences. I mean, you just go out and play in the woods and stuff like that. And we'd go around close to the ponds, and you'd see all kind of wild animals back in there sometimes. I remember seeing foxes and different things, but there wasn't any fences at that time. you just really went where you wanted to go.
Soon after, law-abiding citizens, including some people in this room, reported the legal violations, some of which led to the criminal convictions of Duke Energy. Instead of the law enforcement officials, those are DEQ, they're supposed to enforce environmental laws, coming to us, that is the citizens groups, to help enforce the law, they almost immediately began meeting with Duke Energy's lobbyists and lawyers to come up with a strategy to frustrate the enforcement of the law by the law-abiding citizens. It's exactly the opposite of what I learned growing up in Oconee County, South Carolina. You report crime to the sheriff or law breaking to the sheriff, and the sheriff works with the victims of the crime and the law-abiding citizens, not the lawbreaker.
They've known down here for years. Every time I've ever talked to Duke Energy, they say, oh, we're testing, we're waiting on the data. Well, that's what they do. They test and get the data, and then they're doing more testing to do more data, and then they're doing more testing. They've been testing this ground down here since like the 50s.
So Duke knew that there was an issue with some residential wells here, but they've continued to assure the community at large that there's no problem with their drinking water and that it's not connected to the coal ash ponds.
And yes, they did test our well. Told us everything was okay, but they gave us a basic water test. They didn't test for any of the chemicals that they had been, the toxic chemicals that they had been dumping down here for 6 decades. Why would you not test for the very thing, the vanadium, the hexavalent chromium? Why would you not test for that stuff when you know it was toxic?
Yeah, so hexavalent chromium, or Chrome-6, is a form of chromium that's usually associated with industrial processes, generally heating. So burning coal would be an example of that kind of process. Hexavalent chromium is known as a genotoxic carcinogen in that it can actually change your genetic makeup and make people more likely to have cancer.
When I got a letter from Duke saying that something about the problems that they were having, honestly I just ignored it because I didn't think I was close enough to be bothered. Then my neighbor right below me here called me one day and said, Ted, you need to check into your water. Said that I've checked my water and it's 4 times the limit of what it ought to be.
The state is not helping us. If anything, the state agency is trying to hurt us in this effort. Duke hasn't committed to clean those sites up, but we still have open to us the courts and public pressure. What we have seen is what Duke reacts to. And for that, what Duke reacts to is public pressure, legal leverage, the expression, strong expression of public concern, because ultimately they have a politically granted monopoly over electricity.
That we had to hear it from the news media that our wells were not contaminated. As a homeowner, well owner, I don't believe that. I know what Ken Rudo told us here at a meeting last year in April. I've been watching the video of that meeting. He told us that we have a serious problem, that he would not give our well water to a dog.
These are earthen dams. You can patch them and you can repair them, but Duke did a sloppy job. That's why they're leaking. That's why they've had problems. And it's not going to be just a quick fix.
You have the air pollution, water contamination, the leachate problem, the sludge, transportation, lack of regulations and enforcement, and the right of citizens to say no.
Each week at our church, we have the privilege of welcoming a diverse range of people, including pregnant and nursing mothers, infants, people in poor health, and geriatric adults. As a leader and advocate for these people, I invite you to look past what is convenient, what is politically expedient, or what is easy, and make the decision that best protects the vulnerable people among us in our community.
We haven't been able to cook or use the water at the church. We haven't been able to drink from the water fountains. We haven't been able to do baptismals for the sake of someone accidentally ingesting the water.
They gerrymandered the studies to hide the fact that groundwater is leaking from the Buck facilities in many directions.
Is our water good or is it not? That's the question that we need to know.
We are here today to express our concerns about the leaking coal ash pits that surround our homes. Our well contamination is a trespass upon our water, our property, and most importantly, our body. And sit right here at this table, 2 representatives, and told us our water was very safe to drink. You folks are up the hill from the pond. Water runs downhill. Made sense to us. Water does run downhill. Needless to say, we didn't know everything that we know now. I now understand that water does run downhill when it is above ground. It's kind of like Duke didn't finish the sentence.
Now, we appreciate all that Duke Power has done for us in the community. They've been a good neighbor to a large degree. It is a moral responsibility because we are neighbors in this community, neighbors of Duke Power, and that we all have a responsibility to one another.